Hello, everyone. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live today, sponsored by TD. We are focusing on age and ambition, challenging limited beliefs for women's career growth. Now, our special guest today is Marjorie Zingle, who is a successful entrepreneur. She's also the CEO and founder of DataHive. Now, starting from next to nothing, it has attracted some of the world's highest rated internet companies as service providers, has many Fortune 500 companies as clients, and has built into a dynamic international company. Marjorie, welcome to our LinkedIn Live today.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
I'm very excited for our conversation. Those who are joining our LinkedIn Live, just a reminder, please post your questions into the comment section. This is going to be interactive. I've got a few questions for Marjorie to kick us off, but please do put your questions in there. We will be coming to them. So Marjorie, let's get started. And before I begin with my questions, I want to start with the fact that you have and you make a strong distinction between business women and entrepreneurial women. Now, can you start by explaining the distinction to us?
There's a huge distinction, and unfortunately, the two words are used interactively, and they shouldn't be, in my opinion. But an entrepreneurial person tends to be one who runs on their own. They can be very unlucky or very lucky. They are dreamers. They think of the future all the time. They set goals seemingly impossible or usually seen by everyone else as very impractical. They take chances and somehow they live through them. They seldom can manage a business on their own. A business person tends to be the exact opposite. They likely have one degree and sometimes more. They actually like math and accounting. They think chronologically and can manage a business very well on their own. They set specifically defined and supported goals with a master plan. And so that's the difference between a business person and an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur will say they care about profit and loss, but their actions disprove it. It is more often a challenge of winning a game.
Okay, I feel like you are speaking to me right now. And as those who know me know that I absolutely love my team here at Women of Influence Plus. I cannot live without them. They are fantastic and they are business people. They get stuff done. And for me, yes, I can run a business. I'm an entrepreneur, but it's just better when you have the right people and the right team in place. And I love that distinction. So thank you for sharing that and kicking that off for today. I don't know those who are listening, if that resonated with you. It absolutely resonated with me. Now, Marjorie, you yourself have started many businesses, right? Many businesses. Now, DataHive was started a number of years ago, but in terms of your businesses and throughout your entrepreneurial journey, have you encountered ageism? And if you have, how have you responded to that?
Ageism, it's just one of the stereotypes that can apply to anyone, young or old. And it changes as your age changes as well. When I was 30, I was expected to quit whatever I was doing and have children. And that was my stereotype. When I was 40, I was expected to probably retire and bring up a family. And when I was 50, I was considered too old to learn, and it just wasn't. I just wasn't there anymore, and or they thought I wasn't. And when I was 60, I was considered just old-fashioned. When I was 70, my stereotype was that I would probably get sick and die quite soon. And when I was 80, my stereotype was that I was crazy to even think about starting a new business. And now I'm 1.5 years before I'm 90, and I'm just waiting to hear what the next unsupported assumption will be. But how to deal with it? The there's no use listening to those people who impose their stereotypes on you and expect you to do what they think you should do. So the way to deal with it is proven in your day-to-day actions. And if you try to follow what everyone's telling you to do, that's not it. The best thing is to follow your dream, follow your instincts, and talk to your accountant at least once a week.
I love that. And I love that you started off by saying that ageism is just one of the stereotypes. And here at Women of Influence Plus, we talk a lot about intersectionality, and it is just one, right? And it's important to understand that at different ages and different stages of your career, you're going to be faced with different challenges. I also love that you said that these are unsupported assumptions, and you are a great example of that. So thank you for sharing your journey through when you started at 30 and now at 88 and how much you're doing now. So let's get into the next question, because you are in the tech space. I'm curious about how you've navigated the tech space as a woman entrepreneur. This space is often geared towards men. So can you share with us any strategies that you've used to challenge this norm?
You're right. When 20 years ago, when I decided to buy a defunct little a little tech business, I had absolutely no experience. But I did have some people who knew what they were doing and helped me a lot. But I understand what it's like to feel inadequate, for sure. And I understand what it's like to feel like an imposter. And that happened many times. And uh, there's nothing you can do about that. I shouldn't say that. I do think I have a solution, but I understand what it's like to be disrespected as well. But if you think about it, this is my solution. Those feelings come from inside of you, because you find that very often the people that you're communicating with or talking to uh, don't think you're inadequate or an imposter or disrespected. So it's how you deal with how you feel on the inside. And there's many strategies, but one is to put the onus on those that you're talking to prove their claim is wrong or their assumption is wrong. And my what I do is I use those well-known questions: who, what, why, when, where, and how. And if you practice those will help you a lot in mitigating uh, uh, people who challenge you with their assumptions. Uh, just as an example, uh, just one can say, what have I said that suggests I'm inadequate for this assignment? Or may I send you a document that shows you how I handled this exact situation? But on those occasions where one feels really disrespected, and sometimes that's at an event, or sometimes with a person who they may feel intimidated by you. If you feel disrespected, a good ploy is to look over their shoulder and look at something or someone else, and then turn back and reply, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?" And that will try it sometime, and you will see what will happen.
Interesting. Marjorie, I am absolutely going to try that. And I want to just go back to what you just said, because I think it's so incredibly important, where you're talking about, it comes within us. And that's where that self-talk piece is incredibly important. And if we're engaging in negative self-talk, it absolutely is going to have an impact on how we feel, how we perceive ourselves, and maybe even feed into feeling like an imposter. So we start with ourselves. I love the tip that you just gave, where you look over the shoulder and, sorry, what is it that you said? And it'd be interesting to hear if they actually repeat, and in the way that they repeated it, what they said. thank you for that fantastic tip. I've got two more questions. And then again, for those who are joining us live, please, please, please post your questions into the comments box. We've got a moderator. We're going to be getting to those in a moment. So my next question for you is this. What do you think are some of the limiting beliefs for women's career growth, and how would you say that we can address them?
Well, there's many examples of women who have broken the glass ceiling hundreds of years before we were born to this very day. And we can each be just as amazing in our way as they were. For an example that I'd like to give is the Egyptian kings. And when I went to Egypt, I found out that there were many pharaoh queens, they weren't all kings. And those queens did absolutely amazing things. We should read about some of the history books about Egyptian queens. But try some other books like 101 Awesome Women Who Changed the World. It's well worth the read, and it's a very good incentive for those who feel that they are limited in the things they want to do.
Thank you. And going back into the history books, and sometimes what I find, Marjorie, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but sometimes we are the ones that stand in our own way, right? And sometimes those limiting beliefs, they maybe not have been put by those that are around us, but maybe we are the ones that are creating those limiting beliefs. And I remember a number of years ago for myself, it was, you need to get out of your own way. Like, you're the one that's standing in your way. Get out of your own way.
That's right. That's right.
So my last question to you before we go over to the audience is, in one of your businesses, you decided to hire a team of all women. Now, at DataHive right now, your current team is quite diverse. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I'd love to, actually, because I wish more people would try it. But both of those exercises were my way of discovering whether traditional stereotypes are correct or not. I proved unconditionally that those stereotypes are completely wrong and simply untrue in both cases. But there are those times when a person doesn't fit into the team, of course, but usually they leave or they have to leave just because we're all different. But usually that reason has nothing to do with stereotypes. So some of the things that I have done in the past are developing the teamwork amongst the people. And I've encouraged group activities. I have lunch together once a month. We nurture various ways of taking staff to, say, conferences or events, and we try to nurture them in growing and encourage them to develop their specialties, such as taking courses, and we try to teach them to demonstrate or verbalize how their efforts and how their other co-workers' efforts fit in to the benefit of themselves, to the benefit of their co-workers, and for the benefit of the company. And if the company benefits, so do they.
I love that. And I'm going to add in there, when we're encouraging others to explore their specialties, regardless of their age, right? Regardless of their age, it's what do they want professional development in? What do they want to explore? So thank you for sharing that. We've got a number of questions coming in. There's one that I see coming in. I have to start with this, and this is the first time I will be saying this live. Can you tell us about a time where you felt like a total badass in your career? Can you tell us of a time of where you felt that way?
Well, I've got to. I have to think back, but I think it was when time when I couldn't afford to do what it was I wanted to do. And I had talked about it and had expounded uh, this wonderful idea. And then I was having difficulty putting it through. But it worked out. I just challenged ahead and took my own advice and made it happen. Very often you can change turn things around if you just take another look at it from a different angle. And an entrepreneur almost always will do that. They'll lie awake at night thinking about how they can solve that problem.
And sometimes you just have to turn the other direction, and the answer is right there.
That's right.
I love what you just said. I took my own advice and I made it happen. My next question to you, coming from the audience, is curious what your experience was on the flip side as a woman in her 20s, for example, not being taken seriously because you may have been considered too young.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that definitely happens. And that's usually the people that treat you like that are older. And you know what? They're probably afraid of you. And they're afraid of what, maybe not of you, but of what you do or what you can do. And my advice is just go ahead and do it. And there's challenges for sure. But when you're 20, those are the experiences you need to have to deal with the many things that are going to happen to you in the coming years.
What a great perspective. It probably has nothing to do with you, that you could be seen as a threat to that individual. And just to move forward with that, I have a mentor who says, we don't learn from experiences that we don't have, right? And so what I'm hearing you say is, go through it. It'll set you up because you're going to go through other challenges as you move forward.
Mm-hmm. You do a much better job than I.
Thank you. Okay, next one. What is one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
My younger self, I guess I would have taken the same advice. I wish that I had if I was a depression baby, and so I didn't finish school, and I had to learn on the job. Took many courses. I went back to school, and I wish that I had been able to do that earlier in my life.
Okay. And you've had this incredibly successful career. And right now, and you've gone through a lot of challenges, but what's the biggest challenge that you are facing right now?
Well, in my company, I've decided we're going to expand, and we're going to become at least 4 or 5 times larger in space than we are. And it is a real challenge. It really is. We're in this particular economy, and in Alberta right now, there's a shortage of tech individuals in various modalities, and so we're working very hard as a team to make this expansion happen. And it's in about August, we will be announcing the opening.
Congratulations. Are you excited about the expansion?
I beg your pardon.
Are you excited about the expansion?
Oh my goodness, I really am, because we're the niche that we are in is where we have international service providers in the company. Excuse me, and they. And there's many more of them who would like to come in, but they can't because we're not large enough. And so we're going to make it very, very easy for them to join our company. We have over 6,000 points of presence worldwide at this time.
Wow. That is phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. We're excited for you, Marjorie. I've got another question for you, and it goes back to kind of what we've been talking about around ageism. How do you deal with ageism when looking for career advancement, but you are viewed as either maybe too young or too old?
The don't be sick for one thing for sure, and look after yourself personally. And my suggestion is reading a lot, and I'm talking about reading the business magazines and the business sections of the newspaper, and to be on top of those things. And if you're going to be talking with men, this is the stereotype now, but read the sports page. Know what's happening, what happened yesterday, and you may not have to know about every single little thing that each player did, but at least you know who won and who lost. And so that gives you an idea of what I mean by, like, you're again being part of the group. They're not a team, but they're part of the group, and that you deserve to be where you are, and you deserve to communicate with them on their level.
And I remember you sharing in our pre-call that's something that helped you in terms of reading that sports section. And it's really about staying up to date with what's trending right now, whether we're talking about sports, whether we're talking about AI, whatever it might be in the workplace. And I love that advice. Know what's going on in business, know what's happening out there in the world, and having that conversation, because I think that's incredibly important. So thank you for sharing that. We've got another question for you here, which is, what is the key to your success?
I guess I've kind of said it all, but it's determination. I I like to work, and I like my work, and I think that's probably one of the keys. And I love to do what I do by getting out there, making things happen. A lot of it, I think, is proving yourself to yourself, and that is so important to you that you like to do it. That your question is difficult for me to answer, because I think everyone is different. But I will tell you that I was told when I was quite young that I would never make anything of myself, and that there's a story behind that, but that has stuck with me, and you can tell it's affecting me right now. That has stuck with me for my lifetime, and so I continually want to prove that I can make something of myself, and be able to say when the day comes, see what I did, and that's my challenge.
Wow, Marjorie, thank you so much for sharing that. And you absolutely have proven that. 100% you've proven that. And I love what you've just said in terms of, I like my work, right? You like to work, but it's also important that you actually like your work. You've also shared that, you're proving yourself to yourself. And a lot of what I'm getting out of our conversation, this relationship with ourselves is so incredibly important, especially as we have years in terms of the number of years we spend at work. We have to have a strong relationship with ourselves, that self-talk, the inner talk, the challenging those limiting beliefs, the just going forward. What I'm also gathering from our conversation is letting our work speak for itself, right? Like, let me show you, here's a document, like, where I can do this, letting our work speak for ourselves. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I've got one more question for you. Now, over your entrepreneurial journey, what has been your favorite part?
And I'm sorry, I didn't get that. My favorite what?
Your favorite part of your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, it's being able to talk about it to people like you, because there's a sense of a relationship that can develop with people who are of like mind. And uh, I I guess I can't say what my favorite part is. It doesn't have to do with making money, and although I know that money is in our world is an indication of our success, but to me, money is just a way of getting to where you want to go. It really it has no value other than that, and um, there's that. So being able to get to go where I want to go is probably one of the greatest satisfactions that I have. And I also love it when I had one time I had a person, this is a good example. I had a person say to me, Marjorie, we will never bring our business to your data center. And it took me 5 years, but I've got them in the data center. And that's the kind of satisfaction I think that one can get.
You got them in the data center. You didn't take no for an answer. It took 5 years and you got them in. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for putting your questions into the comment section. I have so enjoyed this conversation, Marjorie. I do want to share a little bit about DataHive, if that's okay. So DataHive is committed to providing secure and reliable data solutions and offers a range of services, including co-location, managed data security, private and public cloud solutions, and more. So a state-of-the-art facility, and one we know that is expanding, the announcement to come in the summer, and a team of experienced professionals. DataHive serves as a global hub for internet connectivity and IT solutions. We are going to post the link for DataHive in the comment section. And I do want to share with the audience, when we were thinking about a speaker for our LinkedIn Live today, it was without a question that we wanted Marjorie to join us. We did a profile article on Marjorie at the end of last year, one of our most viewed articles throughout the year. I highly encourage you to check it out. Marjorie, thank you for taking time to chat with us this morning, to talk about your experiences as an entrepreneur, for providing that distinction to kick us off today, for sharing a bit more about yourself, about what you do, and how we can really challenge the limiting beliefs that sometimes we hold ourselves, or sometimes that are imposed on us. We truly, truly, truly appreciate your time. Thank you. A huge thank you to our partner TD for sponsoring our LinkedIn Live today. Thank you to all of you for taking time to join our session. We will see you all again in April. I'm Dr. Ramit Billen here at Women of Influence Plus. We hope you enjoyed your time with us today, and see you again very soon. Marjorie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take good care.